big moves made by the Pistons. So I'm going to break down some of
Indeed.
these moves, and then I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask the people a question.
Okay.
So first, this is like all over the span of like a week. Okay.
Yeah.
First
I
move the
remember it all
Pistons
happening.
make
Yep.
is they trade Kevin Knox
Mhm.
for Simone Fontecchio
Which no one's ever
and
heard
a
of.
second round pick or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, right. They trade Kevin Knox and Simone Fontecchio, and I'm like, I don't know. Okay,
No
I
one's
guess we
ever
got
heard
rid
of
of
him.
Kevin Knox.
That's good.
Okay.
Yep.
After that, they move
Mhm.
on from Monte Morris, where
Yes.
the Pistons get Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr., and a second round pick in 2030. So if you have a cousin or a brother or a sister, or well, not a sister,
Well,
in 5th or 6th grade,
let them know.
they could be drafted by the Pistons.
They
So
could
just
be.
you could be looking at a future Detroit if they play basketball, or if they
Yeah.
don't, get them into basketball because they might be a Detroit Piston
They
in
could.
6 years.
Yep.
And then
Mhm.
the actual trade deadline day comes, and this is where things get really exciting.
Yes.
So the first thing I saw was that the Pistons trade Alec Burks to the Knicks. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, all right, they trade Burks. So what's going to happen there?
Maybe.
And
Yep.
then I find out they also traded Bojan Bogdanovic to the Knicks. Now, at first, I thought these were two separate trades. No.
No.
See, what we actually got here, if I can
Yeah.
find the here we are. This is gonna be the full trade returns.
Ooh.
Open up that link. So
Try not
the
to cry.
Pistons trade Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks, and they get Quentin Grimes, Malachi Flynn, Evan Fournier, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 second-round picks.
Wow.
Afterwards, they waive Killian Hayes because nobody wanted him.
Sure.
And my question, after going through all of the myriad of moves to you and to the people, are we getting trolled? Are we getting just straight up deceived? Like, let me paint you a picture. You had Bojan Bogdanovic, who's a 20 points a game kind of guy. Like
Sure.
he's a solid wing, obviously outside of he's in the
D.
twilight of his career,
Sure.
can hit the 3 ball.
Yeah.
And Alec Burks, who's
Yep.
having a pretty good year, obviously a vet of the league, he can also shoot from the 3.
Yep.
And you're telling me the only thing we could get is Quentin Grimes, bum number 1, bum number 2, bum number 3, and 2 second-round picks. And then on top of that, we trade Kevin Knox and a pick, by the way, which, I don't know if you're aware, but, a team that has got 8 wins on the season probably could use its picks. But we trade Kevin Knox, a guy who we shouldn't have even had to begin with.
True.
And we trade him for, Soprano Badecchio or whatever his name was.
The guy from Utah.
Yeah, Utah man. And Monte Morris for a 5th grader. And Shake Magoo or I don't Shake Shimalama Ding Dong.
Yep.
And I don't like how can you keep your job and do this? Like I don't how is this acceptable?
I don't know. To the general question of trolling, to some extent, yes. I will say, the Monte Morris trade for Shake Milton is pretty decent.
Okay.
I think that was maybe the only good trade. The fact that Burks and Bogdanovic are now going to the Knicks, that makes them better. What you guys get in return for that? Quentin Grimes, meh. Evan Fournier, I don't know how he's doing, but in the past couple of years, he's been a pretty good 3-point shooter, which I know you guys need, but he doesn't do much else. And to be quite honest, Malachi Flynn kind of does the same thing. White guy, he shoots, whatever.
Yeah.
The other guy I've never even heard of. But for what you guys had in Alec Burks and Bogdanovic, who, from what I can remember, when Cade Cunningham wasn't your top scorer, it was
Right.
Bogdanovic or Burks
or Ivy
or Ivy or Duran or whatever. So it was. I remember seeing all these trades and being like, "That it's weird." Like you have to like you guys move guys around.
Yeah.
But it's just
the team is
very
the same
weird.
though. Like it's like
It's
I don't.
basically the same.
Well, like the thing is, I put it to you this way: it's like rearranging the furniture in the crack house.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you didn't actually move
You move
forward.
a chair
You just
over
like
here to over
yeah,
here.
it's like yeah. Now the good chair is facing in the west side of the room, and the TV is on the wall up over near the kitchen. And it's like
It's
yeah, but
basically
you
the
don't have
same.
a roof, and the door is off the hinges. Like why? Like if you were gonna like do this, how did you not demand like first round picks? Like
That was
I-
another thing. Did they
and
get any first round picks?
no, we lost. For one, we have now just one of our first round picks from the 2020 draft remaining. By the way, because Killian Hayes is gone because nobody wanted him, right? Apparently, nobody wanted him in the draft either.
No.
Because basically every guy, it's like, oh, you missed on him, and who went after Cole Anthony, Tyrese Halliburton, fun times, and I have some quotes from General Manager Troy Weaver, who has not spoken basically since the season started because he's afraid. I don't mean to speak into the man's mindset and heart, but I have no other way of if you are unwilling to face the people who are paying money and time to watch this team, like it's cowardly. Like I just like what is this? So, anyways. Troy Weaver and this is also an interview that was behind, it wasn't like a press conference. So Troy Weaver on why it didn't work with Killian Hayes. And I quote, "It didn't work because of his shooting. He never got his shooting. The guy can really defend. He can make plays. If you're a guard in the NBA, you got to make shots. You think so, Troy? You really think so? Like,
does that only pertain to guards, Troy?
First of all, if this guy is half as smart as he seems to pretend to think he is, he wasn't a good shooter before. Like that was the thing was, oh no, he's young, he's going to develop the shot, he's going to figure it out. And this is the same crap, and that's the only way to put it. It's crap that I hear about Ausar Thompson from Pistons faithful, like Troy Weaver himself and the coaching staff and even the fans. Oh no, he's got to develop his shot. It's like, if you are 19 years old and you can't shoot, you can't play in the NBA. Full stop. End of story. Bye-bye. See you later. You're not just going to magically, you get the ball into see, I thought it's like, if you're a guard in this league and you cannot shoot, you don't belong in the NBA. I don't get this. I don't get this is the only imagine if this was the NFL, if it was like, man, we got this great wide receiver. The only thing about him is he can't catch. It's like that's the game. The game. I can't do it. And we have more quotes.
So folks, as we can see, the old man is getting angry.
We have more quotes. We have more quotes from this lunatic. Weaver on the first half of the season, where mind you, we lost 29 straight games. And I quote, "We're not going to cry over spilled milk. We didn't get it done." That's it. That was all he had to say. Historic losing streak, spilled milk. You know what?
It's the equivalent.
You know what? That's what I want. That's what I want. I want to foul ball the Troy Weaver skull. That's what I would like. Because how you know what? Mr. X, we should. Brad Holmes and Sheila Ford take over the Pistons. They do a better job. And they don't even know anything about basketball.
Great idea.
And there is so much of this that is just so this is the cream of the crop. Troy Weaver, and now granted, I don't really like this line of questioning, but it is what Troy is just what was asked. Troy Weaver on why he's the right guy to keep this rebuild going. And I quote, "Absolutely, I'm the right guy. I sat here in June 2020 and said we're going to restore the Pistons. That's what we're going to do." Well, gosh darn, Troy, if this is you trying to restore the Pistons, I gotta know what you destroying the Pistons is. Like, do we just not win a game?
I think that's 2024 on it, and we're coming up on June.
Yeah, we are now 4 years removed from when he took over, and we are worse than where we were when we started. Now, mind you, we were stuck with the Blake Griffin contract. We had just signed Derrick Rose. We were in terrible situation, and we have somehow managed to get ourselves into a worse situation. And all that I hear from not just front office and media, from Pistons fans is, well, we got a lot of cap space. It's like, you know what? This is like if you gave the crackhead $100 million to just go spend on food and groceries for you. It's like, yeah, you can do that. He's got a lot of money, but he's just going to go and buy you rat poison and crack. Like that, like, we cannot trust this guy. There has been no move. I cannot think of a move that he has made outside of drafting guys that either fell to him or were the number 1 overall pick where he got it right.
Yep.
And just like, and Tom Gores lets him run another trade deadline. He had never had a good trade deadline. He even said, this is not in here, but he said that he had gotten better deals for Bogey in years prior, and he just didn't take them. Because he's an idiot. Because he doesn't know what he's doing. Because he's a talent scout. He was a great scout. He obviously was instrumental in bringing Russell Westbrook to the Oklahoma City Thunder back in the day. But he can't build a team. He just can't.
Nope.
This is correct, Mr. X. We can blame the duality of Detroit sports. One of our teams needs to be bad for the others to succeed. We saw what happened to the Lions after the Pistons won. That's true. It's 100% true. Yep. Pistons win in 2004. They have a dominant run in the early 2000s. Lions, Matt Milner. So maybe this is just the reverse.
I think it's what
Does that mean the Pistons are going to have a winless season?
Are we living in a bizarro timeline, Mike?
This could be. This could be. Timeline. And this is another quote. This is the final quote of this little post here. Sure. And this goes through layers of problems with this team. And I quote, on Cade and Ivy's compatibility, obviously 2 heavy ball heavy point guards, right? Sure. Guys that want the ball in their hands.
Yep.
Those guys just haven't played a lot due to injuries. This group just hasn't been together. These last 30 games, we'd like to see these young core gel. Time together, minutes together, games together is really important. Now that's interesting, Troy, because I'm old enough to remember earlier in this season when Cade and Ivy were perfectly healthy and Killian Hayes was starting over Jaden Ivey. So who's got it right here? Does the coach, who we paid billions and billions of dollars to come bring in to restore the Pistons, as you say, and he just wasn't playing it. And you're telling me you, the general manager, never went to him and said, hey, I made this team. You're starting. He just sort of let the ship like I get it. Last year, Cade was a wash, right? He played like 10 games. He wasn't playing with Ivy at all. Understood. They had a 30-game stretch where they were losing every game where Ivy wasn't starting. And frankly, and I'm not gonna make a long-term judgment on this. I don't know that these 2 guys can play together. And it's not because they're both not good. They are both good, but they play essentially the same position. It's like when the Kings had Halliburton and Fox, right? They had to move on with one of them. And I think both teams ended up okay, right? Pacers get Halliburton. They keep Fox. Both these teams are playoff teams, right?
Yep.
And we have to make and the thing is, we're not going to be able to make a decision until the offseason if we're going to do that route anyway.
Yeah.
And you can't have this guy do it because time and time again, he's missed. If whoever he ends up taking, if they end up moving on from one of these guys, it's going to be the wrong guy. If he trades Ivy, Ivy's going to go on and win a championship with the team. Or if he trades Cade, Cade is going to go on and win a championship with that team. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
And that was just the Pistons deadline. So I've become accustomed to the Pistons just being an absolute laughingstock and just truly a pathetic franchise. And this was one last point on this before I move on and let you take over on some other trade deadline stuff if you got some stuff to talk about here. I see a lot, and I know this is there's a lot of younger people, and I'm not an old guy. I'm 24 years old, but I'm old enough to remember the Pistons being good. And to remember them being in the playoffs consistently. I'm old. I remember watching Chauncey Billups and Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace. I remember watching those are my favorite. Rip Hamilton. Those are my favorite players growing up. I don't have it here with me. It's back at my parents' place. I have a Rip Hamilton, Joe Dumars flip jersey because Joe Dumars was the GM at the time. I remember when the Pistons were good. Seth, you're 4 or 5 years younger than me. right?
4
4
years,
years
I'm
younger than
20.
me.
Yep.
I don't think you actually remember when the Pistons were good, really.
Nope.
Like, I mean,
Nope.
you were born when they won their last championship.
That's correct.
And, you know, you were like 8 or 9, right? Like when they were like, you know, falling off, I would say
Mhm.
at that point. But
Yep.
like, I get a lot of people who just instinctively look at the Pistons and they're like, oh, well, it's the Pistons. They suck. They're terrible. It's like, we're not the Memphis Grizzlies, and no disrespect to the Grizzlies, but they're an expansion team. We're not, you know, who are I'm trying to think of some of the other expansion teams.
Name
like,
it. Put insert expansion team.
I was going to say the Nuggets, but they're successful now. But even
Yeah,
still,
that's
like,
true.
we're not the Jazz, okay? We're not the New Orleans. We're not the Hornets. We're not the
Yeah.
Pelicans. Like,
Right.
we're a team that has been around since the very early days of the NBA. We have plenty of Hall of Famers throughout our franchise, all-time players, you know,
Mhm.
guys like Grant Hill, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, the Bad Boys, going to like, this isn't a team that just like, we are one of the few franchises to have 3 championships. There are a number of franchises that can't say they have been to one, let
Yeah.
alone win one.
Yeah.
So like, I just want to get that off my chest that like, it's not simply that this team is bad. It's
Yeah.
that it's like if the Lakers were bad. And I know we're not as good as the Lakers. I understand before people go crazy, but
still,
we should be in that caliber as one of the historic teams of the NBA. I mean, like, and the fact that they're just like basically
They're
nothing.
not.
And that Tom Gores is totally negligent as an owner, and that Troy Weaver is treating this team like, you know, he has no idea what he's doing, which is true. He has no idea what he's doing, and other people watching are just this is just what the Pistons are like to them, and that's
what they are to me.
it's a damn shame. Yeah, right.
Yep.
That's what they are to you. All
Yep.
you've known is the Pistons being bad.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.